Hey guys, and happy Friday. And as you can see, I'm doing another little interview this afternoon with my good buddy Reuben. And this is a gentleman that you gotta hear his story. Amazing guy who's doing some big things. And for any of my wellness friends and wellness professionals, for those that have online coaching businesses, this is a guy that you must connect with, and this is a guy that you have to listen to. He's doing some amazing things in the online space. Hi, Cindy. And he's got such an amazing way and an amazing business that it's really incredible. So I just want to say hi. Hey, Pop. Hi, Jody. So I'm going to wait for Ruben. There he is. I'm going to add him in. And we're going to, hi, Roseanne. And you guys just need to hear Ruben's story and everything that he's doing. So there he is. What's up, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again. Long time.
I know. It's been great. How's your week been going?
Week's been going awesome, and just you know, but the behind the scenes conversation that we had last week had me really fired up and jazzed. So I'm excited for things that we're going to be doing together, but we can talk about with them another time. But
Totally.
this is about you and what you're doing. So I just want to say hi to everybody that's coming on. So what I love doing, Ruben, is like we both have very big networks, and I was on the inside of the online personal training world, and obviously you're on the outside helping those on the inside.
Yeah.
But I always love introducing my network to other online coaches and people that are doing big things in helping others build their business. So obviously you're not from around here. You're from north of the
Yeah.
border. And I always like people to come on and first do just a little intro on
Yeah.
themselves, introduce yourself to everyone, and then we'll do a little bit of a Q&A explaining exactly how you got into what you're doing and how you help people. So just tell us a little bit about you and your story.
Fantastic. Yeah, totally. So for those who don't know, my name is Reuben Driedger. I am a Canadian, so from the cold white north. We just had a crazy cold spell. It was like minus 30 or lower for like 3 weeks. And so
Wow.
we just broke out of it. So it's only minus 16 right now.
Perfect.
So grew up in a small town here, about like 800 people, I think, to be honest. A really crazy small town. Never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. Everyone is either like a farmer, a pastor, or a construction worker, basically.
Wow.
And so I never thought about it until I met my amazing wife, who her dad is an entrepreneur. So she grew up in an entrepreneurial home. And she started doing things like she started working for herself the first month we were married. She was working for herself from home. And I was like, what the heck? She's posting on Instagram. And she was like making more than I was working construction, like 50 hours a week. And I was just like, this isn't fair. Like, I don't like what I'm doing. And I've always been bored of the work that I was in. I'd never liked working for someone. I was always thinking how I could do their business better than they could do it. I was always thinking, hey, they're buying it for this much, selling it for this much. And it's funny, I never even thought of being an entrepreneur, even though my mind kind of worked that way. So finally I decided, you know what? I actually had a winter where I got like laid off of construction, hired again, laid off, hired again, because the construction industry was so bad. It was really tough times, to be completely honest. Like, go for months on end without a job, then would get a job, and it was not fun. It was really hard. And so that's where all of a sudden I had this like feeling of like, I want to control my own income. I want to control, in a sense, my happiness, to be completely honest. And so I started trying a couple different entrepreneurial businesses and failed like hardcore. Like, I sucked at sales. I sucked at talking to people. I sucked at social media. Like, everything you name it, not a natural born like marketer or salesperson, like doing sales calls, like stuttering and like sweating and like marketing pictures of my dogs from and like just terrible, right? So anyways, failed at a bunch of businesses, finally got one of them to work. It was doing really well, and then kind of transitioned into what I'm doing right now. And that's like the short story of where we are today.
So you said a couple things, and what's really interesting is that as an entrepreneur, I've done a lot of things as well. And, the way that I describe it to people is sometimes when you're in entrepreneurship, it's like throwing darts at a dartboard with your eyes closed. And
Yeah.
and you don't even know where the darts are going to go. They're going here, they're going there. But it's only when you really open your eyes and you really see what you want to do that, and it's funny. If you fail, you get up and you try again. You fail, you get up and you try again. And some of the greatest successes that people will have come from the failures that they made. So talk
true.
about really quickly, what was before we get into what you're doing, what was the number one lesson that you learned from all of the failures that led to the success that you're having now?
Yeah. Totally. So I'm gonna answer this question by sharing. I was on a coaching call today, and I was talking to one of my clients, and they were really stuck. They were really stuck on this one strategy that I was trying to teach them. And so I just started asking, like, what was the main thing that's stopping you from implementing the strategy? And they were talking about, well, it's the fear of rejection. It's the fear of people saying no to me or saying that they don't want what I have. And to answer your question, basically what I started to realize, and I told this girl, I'm like, you need to write this down, which is rejection is not the enemy. Rejection is the bridge to success.
Oh,
and basically that's what I learned through that, which was, it's actually, there's a book I think my wife introduced me to. It was like, Go for No, I think it was called.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
That's my Bible.
That's your Bible. There you go.
No, that book completely transformed that. When I got into LinkedIn and everything, it was that book, because the book says that yes is the destination, but no is the journey. And
exactly.
And the examples they had in there with the insurance company, the knocking the door to door, the getting the 59 no's and the one yes, and the person that gets the most no, like that. And all my clients that are on here, one of their homework assignments that I have them do is to read that book.
I need to steal that. I need to get that book to my clients.
Like literally, like I can absolutely contribute to the growth of that book in a 2-year span, because every person that I was literally coaching, a requirement was to purchase that book. And I just read it like about a week or two before our first mastermind. I had just read it again, and I'm like, my God, if every person in network marketing or online sales or entrepreneurship read this book, that would be the key to their success, because it just opens up so many doors. So continue with what you said to her.
Yeah, I mean, basically that was it. Where I was just like, you have a rule for yourself. She, and it was a rule that she had made for herself. And we often do this. We create stories. We create like laws that we create for ourselves that we have to follow. Which is that if I get rejected for something, and we actually went back when we realized that it was because she used to do door-to-door sales and she hated it, and people would slam the door in her face, right? So there's a story that she was holding on to, that rejection was bad because of a past experience. And so what we have to do is realize that, first of all, she was now selling something she completely believed in. Right now, people were actually not slamming the door in her face, and this was a completely different ballgame. So it was just understanding like that she had this old story and how to recreate it. And then I just came up with new rules for her. Basically, no, you put those rules in your mind. Now we're going to create a new rule that you have to live by, which is an empowering rule. And so that's what we did. And that's, I think, probably the biggest thing that's helped me, is just that I just didn't quit. I felt like quitting so many times. Like we went through so many like hardships and struggles and tough times. The biggest thing is that we didn't quit.
Yeah. I made a post the other day, and my quote was, take comfort in knowing that there's millions of ways to succeed and only one way to fail, and that's to quit.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
It's the truth. So you work with a ton of clients like I do.
Yeah.
Michael, we're talking about the book Go for No. It's by Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. There's two versions. There's the original, and then there's one for network marketing. Don't get the one for network marketing. Get the original one.
Yeah.
Even though the network marketing one is good, but it's too network marketing. If you're a
Yeah.
network marketer, the regular version it'll do you just fine. Trust me, they didn't
Yeah.
need to do one for network marketing.
They have a good audiobook. I've listened to it on audiobook. Like I really enjoyed that.
But I'm a big visual person, so it's funny.
There we go.
It's really funny. I went through a very long stretch when I was I was a full-time personal trainer and gym owner, and there was no
Mm,
time for me to read or do any personal development. So before I got into network marketing and started diving back into entrepreneurship in that way, I didn't read any books. The last book I read was actually the first Harry Potter. That's how long it
there
was
you go. Yeah.
in between my books. And now, Nancy and I have a library in our bedroom. But the reason why I love Go for No is I'm a visual person.
Okay.
And Go for No, it literally, it's a story, but it's a visionary story. And what I like when I read books, just like with movies, I like feeling a part of the book, like I'm on the journey with them. And this book does a great job of that.
Very interesting.
So you've worked with a lot of people, and you work with a lot of online entrepreneurs, but just regular people
Yeah.
in general looking to grow a business. What is the number one roadblock that you have found is the most common
Mm,
roadblock of your clients that you've had to help them? I mean, so let's go beyond the fear of rejection. Everyone says fear of rejection. What's one of the biggest roadblocks that you've been helping people overcome that you've seen as a commonality?
yeah, totally. So honestly, and it's kind of funny to say, we already talked about fear of rejection. I think the biggest thing is people just literally get in their own way. They overthink it. They honestly think that they have to have A, B, C to Z all figured out before they start it. And they're creating for themselves a massive list of things that they have no idea what to do to get started. And I find that when people, like, for instance, the only difference between some people that I work with and some people that I don't work with is that they invested in such a way that they had to take action, and they started taking the action and they got results. I think, like, if you were to break it down to one key thing, it's just people that actually do messy action rather than wait till it's perfect. That's literally the biggest thing,
I love
especially when
that.
you're starting.
Yeah, Jay Shetty talks about the 75% rule where, most people are focusing on being 100% ready and prepared and having everything in place before they start taking action. He says you
Yeah.
start taking action when you're at 75% and you'll figure out the other 25% along the way.
Yeah, exactly. And this is actually a big thing for me because I know part of our mastermind is actually like the standard of excellence. And I've had a little bit of a battle in my mind being like, I love taking messy action, but then let's get it to excellent as soon as possible. That's kind of
Yeah.
where my mindset has been. So it's a bit of a balancing act, to be completely honest. Like for instance, like with releasing a podcast, it's like I just want to get it out there, but then I do want to make sure that I'm making it really good quality, great guests, etc. So it's both. I think it's both, but make sure that I think on the front end leading on the action.
Absolutely. So you did a bunch of different things and you ended up in the space of working with online personal trainers,
Yeah,
helping them grow their businesses online. Two
yeah,
questions. Number one, how did you get into the personal training coaching
yeah.
business? What was the draw to that industry?
That's good.
Um, and what really separates? Listen, we had a lot of FaceTime, and I personally know what separates you from everybody else. You're a dynamic
Yeah,
person. But what truly separates you from other growth strategists that help online personal trainers?
yeah, totally. So the story is that we tried a bunch of different businesses and we kind of ended up doing online health coaching, my wife and I. So we were working with people, we were giving them fitness plans and macro nutrition plans, and we were working in that industry and we built up that business to a place where we were going full time. We started to have like 6-figure months and stuff like that. And that's when all of a sudden I realized that I love the business aspect of the whole health coaching, and people were asking me, how did you do it? So I kind of was just like, I wonder if I could transition this way. And I started helping a couple people. It worked out. And so it started kind of snowballing. And so that's kind of the story of how the transition happened. Now, what sets me apart? I mean, there's a lot. I'm always honest. There's a lot of people that are in a very similar niche to me, whether they're like people who help brands build themselves online, or business strategists, or business coaches, whatever you want to call them. What I would say is a little bit different from what we do is that most people that are business coaches, they only offer group coaching services. Well, for us, we're really intentional that there's always some one-on-one time. There's personalization, there's customization, there's actually like time that we spend with people. That's a big thing. And the second thing is that I think every coach should have a coach. So I think just the aspect that I know I always need to be learning. For instance, I mean, we're in this mastermind together where we're learning like crazy. And even just after the first events, like I'm rehauling all of like my student portals, my membership sites. I'm like updating everything because it's all going to be way better. And so I think for me, the biggest thing really is just I've walked the walk that people want to walk. I personally am growing myself and teaching them the highest end strategy I could possibly get to. And then at the end of the day, we're giving people the time of day where they don't feel like they're falling through the cracks. So I think that is what makes us really special here.
The one thing that always comes up in coaching practices like that you and I have that you know people would consider high ticket.
Yeah.
And you know, because people come to us all the time and they want to grow their business and they want to take it to exponential levels. They don't want to make six figures. They want to make multiple six figures, get to seven figures, but sometimes the investment portion it's there. The value is great enough. It's there, but people have that fear of making that investment because what if it doesn't work? So let's talk about 100%. That. Let's talk about that mindset shift where, you know, people, you and I are talking to people all the time. How do you make someone feel more comfortable about the fact that, you know, not having those negative thoughts about, you know, is this going to work? Is this going to be a waste of my money? So what can you say on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a little bit just being aware of what to look for when you're investing in a program. I think that's a good, just having some like things that you want to kind of check off the list of like, if I'm going to buy from someone, I want them to have done what I want to do. They have to have like testimonials. There has to be like proof. Like there's some kind of things to look for first and foremost. But the second thing that I think is really important is for people to have a mindset of resourcefulness. And I mean, we've heard like, and it's actually funny because often the cheesy sayings are the true ones because they're just said so much. As far as it's not about the resources you have, it's about getting resourceful. It's about burning the boats to take the island. Like we've all heard all those. Yeah. But the reason we've all heard them is because they're really universal and true. And so I think at the end of the day, when I didn't have the money to, like, actually, I'm going to say it this way. I've invested in coaches in the past that actually weren't great for me. I did. But I've also invested in coaches and had to borrow money from our parents that were great investments, and we got the return on it. And so entrepreneurship is a game where you need to put yourself out there, do your homework. I think I could have done my homework better on some of the coaches that weren't as good. I think I could have done better homework. But even when I had to get resourceful and borrow money and put it on a credit card and make it happen, it was the best thing ever because we had so much skin in the game.
And you said something interesting because I've coached with a lot of people. I mean, and we're still coaching. I mean, God, when that first day at our mastermind, it was worth the price of admission for the entire year that we're doing this. I mean, I mean, we're all still buzzing from it. So, so we hear this all the time that people have made investments in coaches and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So now this person is preconditioned to actually staying still because the fear of if I hire this person, is it not going to work out again? So they're, you know, people are letting their past experiences of what didn't happen stop them from actually moving forward. So I want you to talk about this because
this is so good.
You've actually worked with coaches where it didn't work, but it didn't stop you from moving forward. So like, how did you overcome that? And what can you say to people that feel that same way? They've hired these coaches, nothing happened, and I'm all coached out, and I don't know if it's the right fit. So what would you say to that?
Oh, 100%. I first want to say, like, I get messages every single week from people who paid into other coaching programs and they didn't get the results they wanted, or they felt like they fell through the cracks, or whatever it might be. And the first thing is, I always say, like, I completely relate. I've bought programs that cost thousands and tens of thousands of dollars that didn't give me an ROI. And I've been there before. Now, this is kind of the same thing with a lot of things. People will take one, it's actually basically it's logic that has a fallacy in it, which is basically I take one event and I judge all other events by it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but it's
No,
basically like
that's amazing. That's amazing.
if I would see one swan that's gray, and I would just say, okay, because one swan is gray, they're all gray. That's what people are doing with coaching, instead of saying 99% of swans are white and 1% are gray. Like, I think it's deductive instead of inductive logic. And so, of course, there's the emotional side, and I've gone through that myself, but I just knew for a fact, if like 90% of the most successful entrepreneurs are telling me that I need to hire coaches, that's the truth. My one experience, I had two experiences actually that weren't that great. That doesn't mean that's how it's always going to be.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get over it because you're scared. And I even have coaches that come to me and they're like, well, I can't invest with you now because I'm like all burnt out.
Yep.
And we find ways to help people. Like I have free stuff that I give to people that actually gets people results, because I want to care about people and have a long-term relationship with them rather than making a quick buck off of them. So we do work with those people. I'll share one quick story. So we had a girl who I think she paid something like, I don't know, multiple thousands of dollars into a business coaching program and didn't get any results. So we got her into a really a really affordable like a course that I have, and like we got her going on it. And in her first month, she's making thousands of dollars now, just off of some of our like really low end content. So now she's like, okay, now I trust you. Now I would like to move up into your other stuff, right? So I think there's a little bit more building rapport with people. And so I just think that's really important. And so anyways, if people are watching and you feel burnt, there are ways to slowly start moving forward without maybe having to put your whole neck on the line again. But besides that, do your homework. Do your homework.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I heard this on one of Chris's podcasts, his My Two Cents, where he talked about, give as much free content and information away as possible, and the money ends up being a side effect of that. And if anyone, and my clients that I work with one-on-one, not only do they get me one-on-one, but I do additional weekly free trainings on my Facebook, and I give out free ebooks, because you always building trust and rapport and relationship with your friends and your potential clients and your current clients and your future clients. That's what it's all about. When a good coach is a good coach, that they care, that the one thing that I always tell people that separates me from other people is that after I'm done coaching a client, I do allow unlimited virtual access to me. So if they have a question, if they have a question, email me, send me a voice note, send me a text. I'll get back to you, because that's the thing. I've been in coaching programs where the communication, when you're done, the communication's cut off. You can't contact that person, and you don't hear from them ever again. And again, that's not to say that any of these people are bad coaches. Everyone has a different way of coaching. And, for me, I put in over 60,000 hours of personal training hours when I was training. So I was used to working with one-on-one and building relationship and building rapport and getting the trust of my people, because, trust, when you have someone's trust, they will listen, they will engage, and they will apply what you teach them. So Reuben, who's an ideal client for you? And share a typical before and after. Someone that comes to you and says, Reuben, I'm ready for some business growth online. I'm ready to take my online personal training business to another level. Just a basic story of where that person was to where they are now.
No, that's great. I'll share two stories of people that started working with us just in the last month. So some recent people, and just give you a kind of a before and after. So most people come to us. They're either in one or two places. Either they're just like, I don't have any online clients, but I want to become an online coach fully. Or people are like, I have some online clients, but I want to go full time and beyond. That's very normal. So it's either you're between like 0 to 5 clients online is usually the normal person. So now, it really does depend on where coaches are at, because some coaches have a bigger following, some have a smaller following. You can move fast with each of those, just so you know. People can move fast, but sometimes people are just in different situations. So I'll give two stories. So one, we had a guy join us. It'll be 5 weeks ago now. So it'll be 5 weeks ago. His name is Jake, and he came to us making around $3,000 a month, but that was mostly in person and a tiny bit online. So he had a bit of a bigger following on Instagram, so that helped him a little bit. But in his first month, he was able to go from making 3K to making 10K his first month. And he was able
Wow.
to quit his full-time job, and he's going full-time as an online coach right now. So that's a
Amazing.
great story. I just got off the phone actually right before this live with another girl she's a month and 4 days into our program. Her name is Kendall, fantastic coach. So she started with us, a month and 4 days ago, and she had 0 online clients, never done online coaching before. She was working in a center and in a gym. And so in the last month and 4 days, she got 11 clients, and on average, they're paying her between 300 and 400 bucks per month.
Wow.
So she's making great money. And she quit her job. Actually, is going full time online. So now, these are pretty average. I could share more stories, but what are this program that they're in? It's specifically designed to help people in 3 months start making between $4,000 and $6,000 per month online. That's we want to just hit that as an average, because for most people that's full time money.
Mm.
And when it's full time money, they can put all their effort towards it and scale it up. And so those are very normal results.
So I love your two different coaching programs. You don't have to get into price, but tell them a little
Yeah.
bit about what you do for your clients that coach with you one-on-one, which I think is really, really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so we have some one-on-one clients. Usually these clients, they're making around $6,000 to $8,000 per month already, and they want to scale up to making $15,000 to $20,000 per month. So with these people, we have a really high-end, high-touch, tons of strategies that we give them to help them scale up. But the biggest thing is that I actually pay for them to come. I pay for their flights, hotels, food, little extra fun stuff to come and visit us here where I'm at, and actually game plan with them for a day and like have a really fun evening. So we do that just because I love meeting my clients in person. It's fun to strategize in person, and just to connect. So we do that with a little bit more of our high-end clients, but absolutely love to do that.
And it's when you were telling me about that when we spoke last week, it goes back to the law of over delivering. So it's not about anything more than giving
Yeah,
so much value. And that's, I share this with people all the time. You know, when you're confident in what you teach, the value of what people invest in you and your program doesn't even come close to the value of
hmm,
what they're going to get from it. It's just, it ends up being the smallest incremental amount of money, because
yeah,
when you start learning the methodologies and the systems to put in place that will lead to 3, 4, 10, 20xing your business, that
yeah.
investment becomes one of the most valuable investments one person can ever make. So that brings me to another point. How important it is it for someone to invest in themselves and in their business
Yeah.
each and every year?
Totally. So here's basically how I think about it. I think about it that, you know what, there's a lot of free strategies online that you could go research and you could go find. Basically, you investing in a coach is saving you months and years of time. Basically,
Oof.
that's it. Because I think so, for the average person that comes to me, I think that they could have a full-time coaching business online in 16 to 20 months if they did it themselves, or they could have it in 3 months if they did it with me.
Wow.
So I think the main thing is just that, do you want to save that time? Do you want to save the frustration? And do you want to stay in your job for an extra year, year and a half, or do you want to do what you want to love to do full time faster? So I think that's the main thing that investing helps, is moving you faster and saving time. And time for me, I always think, what's the most valuable commodity? It's not money, it's definitely time. And so I'd rather speed up time by spending more. That's just how I think.
So two final questions before we get on with our Friday afternoons. Number one, what is the number one lesson that you've learned in being an entrepreneur on this journey? Because people see where you are now. Oh my God, Reuben's making all this money, making all this impact, and they think that you and I don't have those shitty days where we're kicking the wall and things aren't working. Like we're constantly figuring things out. So number one, what's the number one thing that you've learned in your own personal entrepreneurial journey? And number two, how can people easily and best get in touch with you to learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah. So honestly, the first one, it might be a bit of an unconventional answer, is to just really dig deep to develop yourself. Because I think any struggle or hardship you go through, or a business ups or downs, it's all going to be way better if you're a better person. And so I think that just developing you, going deep on, maybe like for me, like I have so many insecurities or fears or things that I work through, just so that I can be a better person everywhere. Because I think at the end of the day, that's the most important thing I've learned. And so, I mean, as far as people getting in contact with us, obviously you can follow me here on Facebook. I'm on here quite a bit. But also on Instagram, we're trying to focus a lot of time there. And there you can just find me. It's just Reuben Driedger, just my name, no space in between. But I would love to help anyone else that has questions about what we do. So
awesome. And this is a question that I typically ask people before I let them off. Reuben, what does success mean to you?
Oh, that is a great question. What does success mean to me? Honestly, I think success is, so I think everyone has what we would call a calling or a mission that they're supposed to fulfill in life. And I think success is fulfilling that and being super satisfied and joyful while you do it. I think that's what it is.
Awesome. Love it. Brother, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here. And, you know, I know you can't see the comments, but people have been absolutely loving what you're bringing. You'll go back and you can look at the comments later. So, guys, I tagged Reuben in this video. So please go to his page, follow him, send him a friend request, follow Roseanne. I tagged him in this video. So after it's done, you can go find his first and last name and follow him. So Reuben, thank you, brother, again for joining. Looking forward to future collaborations for me and you to do some big things, which we will tell people about later.
I'm freaking excited for you, by the way. I've been drooling over what we talked about. I'm just like, man, I should have thought it out for myself sooner, but I'm super excited for you.
Well, you know, sometimes someone has to assist you in blazing the trail, and you literally planted a seed, brother, that I went back and I talked to Nancy, and she goes, that is genius. So,
yeah,
you know, great minds think alike, and I'm just grateful for you, your friendship, and everything that we have going on this year.
Thank you. That means a lot. No, I'm excited for us to continue working together, because I think, yeah, people on this, just watch out this year. There's going to be some big things coming.
Absolutely. Brother, enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and I'll talk to you later.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks, Reuben. So as you guys can see, you know, I love asking people that question of what success means to you, because success really does mean something to each person. And for Reuben, it means just doing what you love and just enjoying every moment, the ups, the downs, you know, the bumps along the way, the scrapes, the cuts, and the broken bones in the process of an entrepreneurship, because it's not an easy game, but it's a fun game to play. So guys, thank you so much for those that jumped on here live and on the replay. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out this Friday afternoon. You guys enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.